So this is a review of the album Rest in Peace by Megadeth. I don't really know what I'm going to say about this because it's the most reviewed album in existence, but yeah, there's definitely a lot to say about it, which I'm not going to say. Um, yeah, very nice cover art. So yeah, this album has absolutely no filler in it whatsoever. From side 1, side 2, Holy Wars up to Rest in Peace. It's the perfect album for any thrash fan. If you haven't listened to it yet, you need to because it's incredible. From Holy Wars, Hangar 18, Taken Prisoners, Lucretia, Tornado of Souls, the amount of technicality in those songs is beyond anything that was written at that time, and that's including a lot of bands, Slayer, Anthrax, Testament, Exodus. This was above and beyond all of it, and this set the benchmark for thrash metal from that point onwards. It was the first album by Megadeth to be released by the producer who started with it, which was, forget, so I'm checking Wikipedia. It was Mike Clint, first producer, successfully produced the album from start to finish without being fired, which is really a good reflection of what Megadeth was like at the time. It's the first album with Marty and Nick, obviously Dave and David, formed the band, and essentially the band just before this album was a group of, great musicians, take nothing away from them, but drug addicts. There's nothing really much else to say other than that they were drug addicts who would wake up at night time, practice, get loaded, go out and drink, come back and sleep, and repeat the process until they had to play, really. This was the first album that really surpassed that. Not to say that the previous 3 albums were anything. Any other thrash or metal fan in general will tell you that, especially Peace Sells was an incredible album. So was So Far So Good So What, and the first album, Killing Is My Business. But this album was a new frontier, which is a shame that it came out in '90, really, because thrash metal was really on the decline at that point, as grunge metal and other types of rock really came into prominence, especially Nirvana. That band pretty much single-handedly killed the metal scene for at least a few years. So if you haven't listened to this album, I definitely recommend you download it or buy it, because every song will blow you away. Even the slowest song, which is Dawn Patrol, which is a bass-led song, is, you'll see if you listen to it. And any other albums which you might want to listen to from this, I would say, also you got your obvious song albums, got Master of Puppets and Injustice from Metallica. Listen to Symbolic and Sound of Perseverance by Death, because them 2 albums and this album share a lot of elements, a lot of very meticulous technical lines, especially from Dave Mustaine and Chuck. Their music theory is impeccable, and the way that they apply it, especially on Marty as well, the way they apply it to their albums is above and beyond anybody, especially for their years that the albums came out. You also want to listen to stuff like Testament, Legacy, any Anthrax's stuff, Slayer as well. So the Big 4, obviously, that's what I call the Big 4, because they're arguably the biggest bands in thrash metal. Exodus, Bonded by Blood, Overkill, Years of Decay. their new album as well, The Electric Age, is an album to listen to. Vulgar Display of Power by Pantera is a good album to listen to. I mean, I'll put links in for pages which argue which albums you need to listen to, because there's too many for me to discuss. The Blackened as well by Machine Head, but any metal fans already listened to that album a million times. From Megadeth specifically, listen to Peace Sells, but Who's Buying, because I mean my favourite album other than this by them is So Far So Good So What, but the difference between that album and Peace Sells and the first album is that Peace Sells was the first album that really skyrocketed, but really got Megadeth into the thrash metal field, got them noticed. So definitely give Peace Sells a listen, because that album is pretty incredible as well. I mean, there's just stuff that people hadn't done before in thrash metal. Like, obviously you had Metallica at that point. I think they brought out Puppets just after Peace Sells came out, but I mean, Metallica's first albums were brilliant, but there was so much more technical, theoretical chords being put into their inverted chords and harmonies people hadn't heard of before that Mustaine was putting into Peace Sells. So yeah, definitely give that album a listen to. Also listen to, I mean, if you want to really kind of see what happened beyond 1990, also listen to Countdown to Extinction and Euthanasia. I mean, if you're brave, listen to the next two albums, which is Cryptic Writings and Risk as well. I mean, Risk is a good album in itself. It's a very polished attempt at a popular metal album. I mean, it didn't really pay off for them, but for what it is, if you just listen to Risk without thinking it's a Megadeth album, just think it's just a new band playing some hard rock / metal, it's a good album, and I will argue that to the end of the earth. Yeah, I think this review's gone on quite long enough. I not really know what to say. Of course, Rust in Peace is one of the most reviewed albums in existence, but if you're into metal, if you're into thrash metal, into death metal, groove metal, even some heavy rock, give this album a listen, because it's my favourite album of all time, so definitely give it a listen.